Hi there. It's day 103 of our Through the Bible in 365 days, or 1 year. So we're on David today, and David's the star of the show now. And I like this story, so let's jump over there, and we will get to it. Saul's growing fear of David. We knew that would happen, huh? After David had finished talking to Saul, Jonathan became one in spirit with David. He loved him as himself. I told you Jonathan and David were very close. From that day, Saul kept David with him and did not let him return home to his family. And Jonathan made a covenant with David because he loved him as himself. Jonathan took off the robe he was wearing and gave it to David, along with his tunic and even his sword, his bow, and his belt. Well, whatever mission Saul sent him on, David was so successful that Saul gave him a high rank in the army. This pleased all the troops, and Saul's officers as well. When the men were returning home after David had killed the Philistine, the women came out from all the towns of Israel to meet King Saul with singing and dancing, with joyful songs and timbrels and lyres, harps. As they danced, they sang, Saul has slain his thousands, David his tens of thousands. That's going to make somebody mad. Saul was very angry. This refrain displeased him greatly. They have credited David with tens of thousands, he thought, but me with only thousands. What more can he get but the kingdom? And from that time on, Saul kept a close eye on David. All right. The next day, an evil spirit from God came forcefully on Saul. An evil spirit. Harmful spirit. Evil. Harmful. Okay, I don't like that word evil. A harmful spirit from God came forcefully on Saul. He was prophesying in his house while David was playing the lyre, as he usually did. Saul had a spear in his hand. He hurled it, saying to himself, I'll pin David to the wall. But David eluded him twice. He's talking about literally pinning him to the wall with a spear. Wow. Saul was afraid of David because the Lord was with David, but had departed from Saul. So he sent David away from him and gave him a command over 1,000 men. And David led the troops in their campaigns. And everything he did, he had great success because the Lord was with him. When Saul saw how successful he was afraid of him. But all Israel and Judah loved David because he led them in their campaigns. Right. Saul said to David, Here is my older daughter Merab. I will give her to you in marriage. Only serve me bravely and fight the battles of the Lord. For Saul said to himself, I will not raise a hand against him. Let the Philistines do that. But David said to Saul, Who am I, and what is my family or my clan in Israel that I should become a king's son-in-law? So when the time came for Merab, Saul's daughter, to be given to David, she was given in marriage to Adriel of Mecholah. Now Saul's daughter, Michal, was in love with David, and when they told Saul about it, he was pleased. I will give her to him, he thought, so that she may be a snare to him, so that the hand of the Philistines may be against him. So Saul said to David, Now you have a second opportunity to become my son-in-law. Then Saul ordered his attendants, Speak to David privately and say, Look, the king likes you, and his attendants all love you. Now become his son-in-law. They repeated these words to David, but David said, Do you think it is a small matter to become a king's son-in-law? I am only a poor man and little known. Little known, he says. That's humble, isn't it? When Saul's servants told him what David had said, Saul replied, Say to David, the king wants no other price for the bride than 100 Philistine foreskins. Yuck! To take revenge on his enemies. Saul's plan was to have David fall by the hands of the Philistines. And when the attendants told David these things, he was pleased to become the king's son-in-law. So before the allotted time elapsed, David took his men with him and went out and killed 200 Philistines and brought back their foreskins. They counted the full number to the king, so that David might become the king's son-in-law. Then Saul gave him his daughter, Michal, in marriage. Not supposed to happen, right? When Saul realized that the Lord was with David and that his daughter, Michal, loved David, Saul became still more afraid of him, and he remained his enemy the rest of his days. The Philistine commanders continued to go out to battle. As often as they did, David met with more success than the rest of Saul's officers, and he became well known. Saul tries to kill David. Saul told his son Jonathan and all the attendants to kill David, but Jonathan had taken a great liking to David and warned him, "My father Saul is looking for a chance to kill you. Be on your guard tomorrow morning. Go into hiding and stay there. I will go out and stand with my father in the field where you are. I will speak to him about you and will tell you what I find out." Jonathan spoke well of David to Saul, and his father said to him, "Let not the king do wrong to his servant David. He has not wronged you, and what he has done has benefited you greatly. He took his life in his hands when he killed the Philistine. The Lord won a great victory for all Israel, and you saw it and were glad. Why then would you do wrong to an innocent man like David by killing him for no reason?" Saul listened to Jonathan and took his oath. "As surely as the Lord lives, David will not be put to death." So Jonathan called David and told him the whole conversation. He brought him to Saul, and David with his wife, he brought him to Saul, and David with Saul as before. Once more a war broke out, and David went out and fought the Philistines. He struck them with such force that they fled before him. But an evil spirit from the Lord again came on Saul, and he was sitting in his house. Maybe it means a demon, because they were all originally from the Lord. The evil spirit from the Lord came on Saul as he was sitting in his house with his spear in his hand. While David was playing the lyre, Saul tried to pin him to the wall with his spear, but David eluded him as Saul drove the spear into the wall. That night David made good his escape. Saul sent men to David's house to watch it and to kill him in the morning. But Michal, David's wife, warned him, "If you don't run for your life tonight, tomorrow you will be killed." So Michal let David down through a window, and he fled and escaped. Then Michal took an idol and laid it on the bed, covering it with a garment and putting some goat's hair at the head. Why would they have an idol in their house? When Saul sent men to capture David, Michal said, "He is ill." And Saul sent the men back to see David and told them, "Bring him up here to me in his bed so that I may kill him." But when the men entered, there was the idol in the bed, and at the head was some goat's hair. Saul said to Michal, "Why did you deceive me like this and send my enemy away that he escaped?" Michal told him, "He said to me, 'Let me get away. Why should I kill you?'" When David had fled and made his escape, he went to Samuel to Ramah and told him all that Saul had done to him. And then he and Samuel went to Naioth and stayed there. I didn't know Samuel was still around. Word came to Saul, "David is at Naioth at Ramah." So we sent men to capture him. But when they saw a group of prophets prophesying with Samuel standing there as their leader, the Spirit of God came on Saul's men, and they also prophesied. Saul was told about it, and he sent more men, and they prophesied too. Saul sent men a third time, and they also prophesied. Finally, he himself left for Ramah and went to the great cistern at Seku, and he asked, "Where are Samuel and David?" "Over at Naioth." Man, that's hard to say. "At Ramah," they replied. So Paul went there. But the Spirit of God came even on him, and he walked along prophesying until he came to Naioth. He stripped off his garments, and he too prophesied in Samuel's presence. He lay naked all that day and all that night. This is why the people say, "Is Saul also among the prophets?" David and Jonathan. Then David fled from Naioth at Ramah and went to Jonathan and asked, "What have I done? What is my crime? How have I wronged your father that he is trying to kill me?" "Never," Jonathan replied. "You're not going to die. Look, my father doesn't do anything great or small without letting me know. Why would he hide this from me? It isn't so." But David took an oath and said, "Your father knows very well that I have found favor in your eyes." And he has said to himself, "Jonathan must not know this, or he will be grieved. Yet surely as the Lord lives, and as you live, there is only a step between me and death." Jonathan said to David, "Whatever you want me to do, I'll do for you." So David said, "Look, tomorrow is the new moon feast, and I am supposed to dine with the king, but let me go and hide in the field until evening of the day after tomorrow. If your father misses me at all, tell him David earnestly asked my permission to hurry to Bethlehem, his hometown, because an annual sacrifice is being made there for his whole clan. If he says, 'Very well,' then your servant is safe. But if he loses his temper, you can be sure that he is determined to harm me. As for you, show kindness to your servant, for you have brought him into a covenant with you before the Lord. If I am guilty, then kill me yourself. Why hand me over to your father?" "Never," Jonathan said. If I had the least inkling that my father was determined to harm you, wouldn't I tell you? David asked. Who would tell me if your father answers you harshly? Come, Jonathan said, let's go out into the field. So they went there together. Then Jonathan said to David, I swear by the Lord, the God of Israel, that I will surely sound out my father by this time, the day after tomorrow. If he is favorably disposed towards you, will I not send you word and let you know? But if my father intends to harm you, may the Lord deal with Jonathan, be it ever so severely. If I do not let you know and send you away in peace, may the Lord be with you as he has been with my father, but show me unfailing kindness like the Lord's kindness as long as I live, so that I may not be killed. And do not ever cut off your kindness from my family, not even when the Lord has cut off every one of David's enemies from the face of the earth. So Jonathan made a covenant with the house of David, saying, may the Lord call David's enemies to account. And Jonathan and David reaffirmed his oath out of love for him, because he loved him as he loved himself. Then Jonathan said to David, tomorrow is the new moon feast. You will be missed because your seat will be empty. The day after tomorrow, toward evening, go to the place where you hid when this trouble began, and wait by the stone Ezel. I will shoot 3 arrows to the side of it, as though I were shooting at a target. Then I will send a boy and say, go find the arrows. If I say to him, look, the arrows are on this side of you, bring them here and come, because as surely as the Lord lives, you are safe and there is no danger. But if I say to the arrow, look, the arrows are beyond you, then you must go, because the Lord has sent you away. And about that matter you and I discussed, remember, the Lord is witness between you and me forever. So David hid in the field, and when the new moon feast came, the king sat down to eat. He sat in his customary place by the wall opposite Jonathan. And Abner sat next to Saul, but David's place was empty. Saul said nothing that day, for he thought something must have happened to David to make him ceremonially unclean. Surely he is unclean. But the next day, the second day of the month, David's place was empty again. Then Saul said to his son Jonathan, why hasn't the son of Jesse come to the meal, either yesterday or today? Jonathan answered, David earnestly asked me for permission to go to Bethlehem. He said, let me go, because our family is observing a sacrifice in the town, and my brother has ordered me to be there. If I have found favor in your eyes, let me get away to see my brothers. That is why he has not come to the king's table. There you go. Saul's anger flared up at Jonathan, and he said to him, you son of a perverse and rebellious woman. That's a different sound than today, isn't it? Don't I know that you have sided with the son of Jesse to your own shame and to the shame of your mother who bore you? As long as the son of Jesse lives on this earth, neither you nor your kingdom will be established. Now send someone to bring him to me, for he must die. He must die. Why should he be put to death? What has he done? Jonathan asked his father. But Saul hurled a spear and aimed to kill him. Then Jonathan knew that his father intended to kill David. Told you so. Jonathan got up from the table in fierce anger. On that second day of the feast, he did not eat, because he was grieved at his father's shameful treatment of David. In the morning, Jonathan went out to the field for his meeting with David. He and a small boy with him. He said to the boy, run and find the arrows that I shoot. As the boy ran, he shot an arrow beyond them. When the boy came to the place where Jonathan's arrow had fallen, Jonathan called after him, isn't the arrow beyond you? Then he shouted, hurry, go quickly, don't stop. The boy picked up the arrow and returned to his master. The boy knew nothing about all this. Only Jonathan and David knew. Then Jonathan gave his weapons to the boy and said, go carry them back to town. After the boy had gone, David got up from the south side of the stone and bowed down before Jonathan 3 times with his face to the ground. Then they kissed each other and wept together, but David wept the most. Jonathan said to David, go in peace, for we have sworn friendship with each other in the name of the Lord, saying, the Lord is witness between you and me, and between your descendants and my descendants forever. Then David left, and Jonathan went back to town. Okay, now they threw 2 psalms in here. I mean, there's 144 psalms, so they're going to have to, get them all out of the way at some point. So we'll read the psalms. This is one of David's psalms, okay? Psalm 11. In the Lord I take refuge. How then can you say to me, flee like a bird to your mountain? For look, the wicked bend their bows. They set their arrows against the strings. They shoot from the shadows at the upright in heart. When the foundations are being destroyed, what can the righteous do? The Lord in his holy temple. The Lord is on his heavenly throne. He observes everyone on earth. He examines them. The Lord examines the righteous, but the wicked, those who love violence, he hates with a passion. On the wicked he will rain fiery coals and burning sulfur. A scorching wind will be their lot. For the Lord is righteous. He loves justice. The upright will see his face. Cool. And Psalm 59 they put in here. From the director of music to the tune of Do Not Destroy. Of David a Mitkam, when Saul had sent men to watch David's house in order to kill him. Deliver me from my enemies, O God. Be my fortress against those who are attacking me. Deliver me from evildoers and save me from those who are after my blood. See how they lie in wait for me. Fierce men conspire against me for no offense or sin of mine, Lord. I have done no wrong, yet they are ready to attack me. Arise to help me. Look up my plight. You, Lord God Almighty, you who are God of Israel, rouse yourself to punish all the nations, so show no mercy to the wicked traitors. They return at evening, snarling like dogs, and prowl about the city. See what they spew from their mouths. The words from their lips are sharp as swords, and they think, who can hear us? But you laugh at them, Lord. You scoff at all those nations. You are my strength. I watch for you. You, God, are my fortress, my God, to whom I can rely. God will go before me, and he will let me go out over those who slander me, but do not kill them. Let our shield or my people, Lord, kill them, Lord, our shield or my people will forget. In your might, uproot them and bring them down. For the sins of their mouths and for the words of their lips, let them be caught in their pride. For the curses and lies they utter, consume them in your wrath. Consume them till they are no more. Let them be known to the ends of the earth that God rules over Jacob. They return at evening, snarling like dogs, and prowl about the city. They wander about for food and howl if not satisfied. But I will sing of your strength. In the morning I will sing of your love, for you are my fortress, my refuge in times of trouble. You are my strength. I sing praise to you. You, God, are my fortress, my God, on whom I can rely. Well, there you go. Those psalms seem a little different when you're reading them right in the context of when David's in trouble, right? It's interesting. So there you have it. That was Proverbs. That was 1 Samuel 18 through 20 and Psalms 11 and 59. For today, tomorrow is 21 through 24. David's at Nob, David's at Gath, and David's at Adullam and Mizpah. Saul kills the priests of Nob. Wow. That guy's losing his mind, isn't he? David saved Keilah. Saul pursues David. You know that's never going to end, huh? Wow, this is a long tomorrow. Ooh. David spares Saul's life. Yeah, I remember that. And no Psalms tomorrow. So that'll be interesting. So, that's today. Day 103. And we are getting there. We're about a little less than a third of the way through it. But we know it'll take all year, and it's only April. But catch up on anything you may have missed. You want to say you got the whole thing? Give us a like if you think about it. Till next time. See ya.